All right, we
Late with
skip this,
life.
let's start the Board of Selectmen meeting on Monday, January 13th, 2020 at 6:43 PM. Please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show Selectman Elias is absent. Consent agenda warrants number 26, 12/23/19, number 27, 12/23/19, number 28, 12/23/19, and payroll register number 52, dated 12/26/19, number 1, dated 1/2/2020, number 2, 1/9/2020.
Move to approve.
Motion and a second to approve the warrants and payroll register as read. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Game of Chance license application for VFW Post 7865.
This is simply their annual ask to run some card games and some
Games of Chance, video poker,
Yep.
cards, super cribbage tournament games up to 50 people, tournament games greater than 50 people, and that's it. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Games of Chance license for the VFW Post 7865. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Utility pole placement for CMP on the Longley Road.
So this is their application. They need to have the municipal officers sign off on it. Jeff went out and took a look at it on Longley Road. Apparently they're doing several replacements. This is for 3 of the poles, 3 new poles that they're gonna use.
All right, we have Central Maine Power application for pole placement on the Longley Road. Apparently 3 poles. For a motion, Mr. Moody.
If they're not setting a new line, they still need authorization to replace a pole?
They do. 3 of the poles that they are replacing, they're moving them in a different location.
Oh, okay.
They're replacing 12 poles on that road and upgrading the line to a heavy wire.
Yes.
And those 3 poles are gonna be in a different spot. All the other 10 or 9, whatever what they were, are gonna be in the same spot with the same guide wires.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. D, acceptance of the meeting minutes of December 23rd, 2019.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes of December 23rd, 2019. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Whole business, Mr. Moody?
That is,
Mr. Savage?
None for me.
Mr. Newshawn? None for me. Items of communication, Mr. Town Manager?
Just a couple of things. Selectman Savage sat in on a couple of interviews that we've done. So far, we've taken 4 applications and made 4 interviews for the code enforcement position. After those interviews, we kind of collaborated our thoughts, and we're gonna keep the application period open for a little bit longer, maybe see if we can get some more, and just continue to recruit. So if you know anybody that would like a part-time job, that's would be a good fit for the town, let us know. Most of our applicants have come right out of Indeed, the online job posting format. Talked with Kathy today. The foreclosure notices for your unpaid 2017 taxes will go out tomorrow, probably in the range of about 55 to 60 notices. That's about how many we normally give this time of year. Josh Henry, who's the founder of GoLab, he did a very nice presentation to the Business Alliance this past Wednesday at Somerset Abbey. There's about 40 people there that turned out from the business community, quite informative. He'll be doing a show on Channel 11 this Wednesday that will go out for the next couple of weeks. And he'll also be here for a public hearing, and you have an opportunity to meet him and so forth on the next selectmen meeting on the 27th. And you should have gotten in your packets evaluation for me, as far as, there was a couple of blank evaluations. I gave one to the chair and the vice chair. Everyone else should have got a summary of the activities of the town manager for the past year. So that's what Mr. Moody has right there, so. And in your packets for tonight, there were a couple of pictures of the new snow blower that has arrived. But I'll let the road commissioner talk about that if he wants to add to that.
Can you give your presentation?
No, I was just gonna bring that up in my report, and say we received it, it works very well, we used it the other night,
Oh, good.
and, all goes well, we can decide what we're gonna do with the other one.
What does that hook to?
That hooks to a loader.
Loader?
Yeah, like a loader.
Same thing it had before?
Although this one has a remote control start, so it doesn't matter what loader you hook it to, right?
Right, it's a wireless remote, you don't need to hook up wires like we had the old ones, so that when we do purchase a new loader, we'll be able to hook up with both loaders instead of buying another control box.
Oh, good.
Where do you use this?
Picking up snow on the streets.
On the streets?
Yes.
This is what you basically do?
Yeah, we don't use it on sidewalks.
Okay. No, it's kind of big for sidewalk.
All right, thank you very much. Anything else?
No.
We're good? Okay, let's see. New business, number one. Highway, we have the fire, I'm sorry, we have the police.
Yep.
And we have a library one, right?
Right.
And so
Donnie asked, I just picked those up at town
so
office.
let's pass those out. And so,
Fire.
Jeff, you want?
Well, there again, snow blowers arrived, works very well. Boys have been out plowing usually every other day, it seems, the last couple of weeks. As you can see, the budget's still under 50%, we're halfway through the budget. And our salt is about half used up. And that's about it for me.
Is it where it should be?
Yep.
Did you guys do any treatment today?
Yes, so we went out and just before the buses took off at 1:30, 2 o'clock, and they cleaned up from home. I'm sure we'll be in the morning scraping and sanding and
It's one of those days kind of surprised you with flurries all day. So,
pretty much.
From tomorrow?
Pardon?
You hearing anything for tomorrow?
It's supposed to be nice tomorrow.
Nice tomorrow. Big one this weekend. All right. Okay, let's move
I
on.
just wanted to make a note, in Don French's fire department report, which you have now, he essentially reports on his equipment. And so there's a kind of a summary on what's going on with the fire trucks that he has, and then the summary of the rescue that belongs to the Anson Madison. And I believe he has asked John Bryant if the discussion of the rescue vehicle could be at the officers' meeting of the next AMS board meeting, which I think is Wednesday this week. Okay.
It doesn't look like we're gonna be able to have the regular meeting, because I can't be there, and
I see.
Jack can't be there, and obviously George isn't gonna be.
Okay.
All right, number two, discuss social media policy.
So in your packet, you've got a communications and social media policy. I picked this up at a Maine municipal training that was done on freedom of access laws. And basically, that's the right to know law, and part of that is anybody can ask a municipality for records. They can ask for payroll records, they can ask for meeting minutes, they can ask for recordings of meetings, they can ask for pretty much everything they want. And so while we're at this topic of discussion, the idea started being circulated around about, what about social media? What about things that you put on your website? What about things you put on anything like on Facebook? And there are towns, we're not quite this active, but there are towns out there that have Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts, and they post from their office information every day, because realistically, that's how many people get their information these days, is from those posts. So this is a kind of a combination of overall electronic communications, which even would include our electronic sign, the website, and this is a policy that guides how information should get out there. And basically, the main thing in here is, if you've got a message that you want to get out to the public, it should go through the town manager or their designee, whether that be electronic. What you're trying to avoid here is somebody posting something that could be taken as they're representing the town in their posting or in their comments and that sort of thing. So it's a situation we haven't run into yet, but I thought it would be a good idea just to put it out for discussion as to whether or not we want to add this in. Now, we have computer policies that basically explain what can and can't be used on your town computer that's at your workstation. But this is more far-reaching than just the computer policy.
So if I'm working and I take my Facebook page out and I post something and I make it sound like it's from the town,
Right,
only it's me posting it, and it could be controversial at some point, right?
exactly,
Mhm.
right. And we do have a page that Jack is the designated person to update for the town, and that's a tourism page called visitmadisonmaine.com, or Visit Madison Maine on Facebook. And that seems to be pretty well run, as far as, it does the whole purpose of getting the information out there. Every once in a while, somebody will post a comment to that really doesn't have anything to do with, we're trying to promote a certain business or a certain event. So one of the things that we may want to do is just make sure that we kind of restrict that page so it's not one that people can post comments on. If people have comments, they can certainly know where to find us. Although
Right, if we have comments that we don't know that they're even being made, and
Correct.
somebody's hidden in somebody's
Right.
feed or whatever, I mean, it's just hard to deal with comments that you don't know they're there.
Right. So, I sent this out to the department heads, they've had a chance to look at it, most of the employees have had a chance to look at it. We had made some adjustments based on some feedback I got, and there's probably a couple typos in here. So I was thinking maybe this would be a first read for the selectmen tonight, if we had any questions, we could come back and take action at a later time. One of the questions I was trying to get answered is, if we were to include this in our appendix of our personnel policy, and we also wanted to include it as an appendix in the highway contract, does anything that goes in our personnel policy automatically go in the contract, or do we have to have permission to put it in the contract?
That has to have permission to be put in there.
Okay, so I did send a copy of this to Danny Loudermilk. I wish I had thought of it while he was here last week, but if it's something that they wanna pass on, that's fine. So,
That, I mean, as you said before, we already have it covered for our computer use.
right,
What we're talking about here is me going home and doing it.
well, you can post it on Facebook or anywhere.
Right. But if I'm doing it in my, well,
This would be if you were posting to a site representing the town. You
Right.
could post anything you want on your own Facebook.
right,
But if you were, like, say, for example, if somebody called me up and said, you really ought to put this on Visit Madison Maine, and I put it out there, and it's not something that ought to be put out there, I wouldn't do it in the first place, but if that were the case, then, you know, you gotta, with a policy like this, and it can be very easily taken down. Restricting those sites to no comments will sometimes create more issues than it's worth, just so that you know. I've seen towns that don't allow comments, I've seen towns that allow everything. I've seen towns that have disclaimers that say, if you have to understand, if you post to this site, you're posting to this site at our indulgence, and we have the right to take anything down that you put up.
Right.
Most of the sites that are conversational, if you will, you end up with more bad press if you start taking stuff down. I know on the Business Alliance website, on the Business Alliance Facebook, we allow comments, and once in a while, somebody will make a nasty comment, and I've learned the best thing to do with those people is just ignore them. Just ignore them, because in about, it doesn't take but an hour or two, and somebody else from the general public has just blasted them into oblivion, and I don't have to do a thing.
On your social media pages, like as a business page or whatever, you can have a setting where it says that all comments have to be approved.
Yeah.
So they can make comments, and then they're reviewed, and then if you reject it and somebody has an issue with it claiming censorship, you just simply put that the content was unapplicable to the rules of your page.
Okay, so are we all set?
Well, I just want to say, and we can talk about this at another meeting, but kind of what you were alluding to, Mr. Chairman, was personal communications that can become public. This is, the way I read this, and maybe we need to clarify it a little bit, the way I read this is that it's not someone posting on the town's website or the town's Facebook page, but your personal communications that can become public. And it's just giving a policy and a guideline saying, be very careful what you post on your personal Facebook page. And the rule of thumb there is, would you want it in the newspaper? You know, if you made that comment, would you want it in the newspaper? And I know that sometimes things, you know, get under our skin. Somebody's not happy with a plowing job, and so somebody posts it on their Facebook page about a plowing job. That could be something that would be very easy for our town employees to, you know, get their hair on the back of their neck standing up and wanting to get involved in that.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing we talked about, when we talked about this, was a email address for all of us.
Yes.
Is that something you wanna talk about tonight, or you wanna?
Well, I want to run that by the board. That was the other thing you reminded me, the other thing that they recommended at MMA is just for your own protection as selectmen going forward. And maybe this will be something that we start in July, going forward with a new set of select people. Having a madisonmaine.com email. So on one hand, it's one more email for you to check, but on the other hand, it should only contain those things that you deal with on a selectman basis. Because right now, if somebody from, let's say, Eagle Creek or Madison Paper wanted a freedom of access of all of our emails, then if you're using your home email, you would have to, you know, that could be in jeopardy. In other words, you might
Everything that you
might
have
to
on
turn
that,
over.
everything you have on that becomes
Right.
their property.
This way you can dump everything into a Madison, Maine alone. Most towns are going that way.
But I think that would be a good idea, probably not now, because we're gonna have a change in the board, you know, after we get the election in June, and then get it for July probably. We'll have everybody with a Madison, Maine email, and they'll stay part of, those can stay forever after people leave.
Right, and
If we ever leave.
I checked with Tammy, there is no cost associated with adding 3 or 4 more emails.
Sounds good. Any questions on that? Alright, seeing none, number 3, 6-month municipal budget review.
So I wish there was more excitement to talk about, but revenues seem to be where they're supposed to be, and expenses appear to be where they're supposed to be. We're tracking quite well in our miscellaneous revenues, which mostly includes people registering vehicles. That continues to move at a steady pace. We're receiving more revenue sharing this year than we had in the past. We have all of our Betty, and we've got 77% of our homestead in. So the revenues appear to be doing well. Taxes are coming in at just about 52% for real estate, but then that will catch up when we get to March 15th. Personal property taxes is a little ahead of schedule again. Hopefully people will be reminded by March 15th to get caught up on those. Down at the bottom of the page are basically what we're looking for as far as catching up on unpaid taxes. And as we mentioned, when I printed this, there were 67 accounts that Kathy was gonna send letters to. I think that's come down under 60 at this point.
Good. That's about normal.
That is about normal.
Alright, any questions on the revenues? Expenses?
Yeah, expenses, we should be running around 50%, and for most of our categories, we are. The road commissioner alluded to the fact that they're under 41% so far this year. That was much different this time last year. We had spent through quite a bit of our salt and almost over half of our overtime budget by this time last year. So Everything else seems to be running in order. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions from the board? All right, looks good.
Everything looks good.
Selectmen's concerns, Mr. Moody?
None, sir.
Mr. Savage? Mr. Duchamp? None for me. Citizens' concerns? None? All right, looking for a motion to go into executive session to discuss labor negotiations pursuant to 1 MRS 4056D.
So moved.
Email said seven.
Now 6:30.
6:30.
Email says seven. Says it on the agenda, it says 7 o'clock.
No?
I can show you the email that I just got.
Okay, but, yeah, but,
Oh, that was the planning board. Like, we set
How
up,
was it?
yeah, the planning board meets tomorrow night at 7.
Well, I thought it was only 6:30, so.
Yeah, it is.
all right, we have a
I thought we
motion.
talked about this last night, this morning.
It's early, Jack.
I know.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session to discuss naval, labor negotiations pursuant to 1 MRS 4056D. All those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. We are in executive session at 7:02.